Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Jazmin. I'm a registered provisional practicing psychologist. My channel is all about psychoanalyzing and providing social commentary on topical events, or I like to psychoanalyze celebrities. I basically integrate psychological concepts into relevant topics to give you a fresh spin as well as broaden your opinion. But I also explain everything in a way that is easy to understand and therefore easy to apply to your own life. So yes, through watching this channel, you'll be able to get psychological insight into the way that you think. And you can use that information to empower yourself, empower your life. Use these tips and tricks to improve your life. Whilst it doesn't quite replace therapy, it won't cost you anything. And you'll get to be entertained and learn why you might think and behave the way that you do. Truly, this knowledge can empower you to change your life for the better. So, if you would like to be entertained as well as find out some interesting psychological tips and tricks that you can apply to your own life, then please hit subscribe. I also offer online support. The link is in the bio. It's convenient, it's anonymous, and it is affordable. And check out my Instagram at Helping Minds Online for daily tips on a better you. Now let's get into it. Today we are going to talk about the ongoing feud between Kim and Kanye, and specifically the public feud about their kids, or more specifically about Kanye's issues with 8-year-old North West having a TikTok account. I feel like Kim K needs no introduction. David Letterman will certainly agree. And the same could really be said for the rapper, record producer, and fashion designer, and essentially one of the highest selling artists of all time, Mr. Kanye West. Kanye also openly talks about his mental health issues, including his bipolar disorder diagnosis and his controversial viewpoints towards, well, let's be honest, pretty much everything. There isn't anything that Kanye says that isn't polarizing. Anyway, so as always, I like to introduce my biases right away so that can help you to form your own opinion and your own objective opinion after watching my videos. We all have biases that skew how we view things, the beliefs that we hold. It even influences our behavior. So my biases that I brought into this video would be that I can see that bipolar disorder makes Kanye seem erratic, impulsive, and therefore that his opinion is not reliable because, simply put, it's not steadfast. This can make him seem less credible in a nutshell because he has mental illness. But because I work with mental illness every day, I don't see his viewpoint as less credible at all. And I would like to think that I am able to remain impartial to his symptoms and able to see him as an equal and valid voice to Kim during this public feud. Also, I think that Kim has access to the world's best PR machine, and whatever she is posting, basically, I'm pretty confident that a room of people worked that out and determined the best possible wording, whereas Kanye is probably more like, because of the nature of his bipolar disorder, he will have a thought and then he'll just act on it and he'll just post it instantly. So basically, I can see Kim as someone that's painting herself to be the main provider and just wanting what's best for the kids, and painting Kanye to be this person who is acting irrationally and deliberately trying to hurt everyone for no good reason. But more than likely, Kim is probably taking some low shots to Kanye that we just don't see. possible gaslighting even, but that's a big call, so we don't really know that for sure, so don't take that one with a grain of salt. Anyway, as always, I preface too by stating I have never met nor treated Kanye or Kim. I am not diagnosing. Plus, I would never share that confidential information unless required by court of law, if they were my clients. What I am going to do today is psychoanalyze the celebrity and offer a scientific, psychological viewpoint as I do on this channel. So please subscribe if this is interesting to you. It's a relatively new account, so I really appreciate and I notice the support. So thank you. Today I will psychoanalyze the feud from a speculative point of view based on the information that is readily available to the public at the time of this recording, coupled with the knowledge that I have acquired through extensive study, many years at university, and also working as a provisional psychologist. Now, with Kim and Kanye, I also, firstly, because I like to talk about trauma a lot on my channel, so if that's of interest, please subscribe. So I want to explain their trauma bonds, and by that, I mean how when people experience traumatic childhoods, they often wind up being attracted to others who have also experienced traumatic childhoods or adolescence. Both of them have experienced parental loss as well, which is a trauma. Both the parents died in an unexpected and quite a sudden way, and they were both taken too soon, well before their time. Irina Shayk dating Kanye possibly after breaking up with Bradley Cooper, who also has externalizing mental health conditions, which is also associated with childhood trauma, is again of no surprise to me. Kanye's newest girlfriend, Julia Fox, who was incredible in Uncut Gems, by the way, she comes from trauma. She was raised by a single father, suggesting like she may have abandonment issues with her mum. She's had serious drug addiction problems, and I'm just going to guess that I don't think that girl's had it easy in life. Well, until now, I guess. And also, many of the Kardashian sisters, a lot of their relationship choices can be explained through trauma bonds. It's just repeated behavior and cortisol addiction. So do you ever find that yourself? Like if you've experienced trauma, when you look at your friendship circle, most of you have also experienced trauma as well, I'm gonna guess. If you want an explanation as to why that might be, again, subscribe to my channel because I break down the impact of trauma on the mind and on your body and how it just changes you. So now that I've explained all of that, let's weigh in on the whole Northwest having a TikTok debate. From my understanding, Kanye is mad about Northwest having TikTok. So arguments for not having TikTok. Many celebrities do try to protect their children from fame. Madonna is an example with her son David. I don't think he's even allowed to have a phone. But yeah, so some parents are extremely strict and don't let the public know anything at all about their children. So there's no updates, there's no media, there's certainly no TikTok accounts, there's no pictures, no public sightings even where they can help it. So examples of parents that take this approach would be Ryan Gosling and Eva Mendes, Chris Hemsworth, though he is Aussie, but he did relocate to Australia. And that said, it's like, it could be, and I think they've said it's to protect their children at all costs. So if you're a celebrity bringing a child into the world, it means letting the public into their lives as well, not just your own. And some parents simply don't like that. Reason being, mostly is that some celebrity parents want to give their children the chance to have normal lives, to make that decision for themselves. Because if they're spotted in public too often, they may not have that opportunity. Essentially, these parents believe that kids should have the opportunity to choose whether or not they want their lives to be made public. And they can't really make that decision until they're old enough. So that's often some of the reasons why they try and keep them out of the spotlight for as long as they possibly can, just until they have the life skill sets to make those decisions for themselves. And doing that gives a child both accountability and agency. Now, what does accountability and agency in psychology terms mean? Well, a person's agency is the individualistic capacity of the self to power actions for purpose. An example of someone with little agency might be a woman in a repressed country deciding on her rights to have an abortion, for example. Then accountability would be taking responsibility for your actions. It is also holding another human being responsible for their actions too. It is about the action, not about the individual. Now, accountability involves humility, personal growth, empathy, responsibility. Now, one could argue that by taking away North's decision to be in the spotlight until she's old enough could mean she's lost her ability to develop that critical life skill of accountability, which then obviously includes humility, personal growth, empathy, and responsibility. But another could argue that by entrusting her with her own TikTok account, she's able to show agency through operating her TikTok, but really though, her mum would have known. She would have known that her simple TikTok account would amass millions of followers, which it has. And you could argue, does a child need to have that level of responsibility at the age of 8 years old? Plus, by giving a child a TikTok account, which would be huge, at an age where a child does not understand what it means to have a huge following on TikTok, which is what has happened, one might argue you're actually taking away their agency, which could make North feel disempowered later on in life or power hungry. How that imbalance might manifest, well, I guess we'll have to wait and see. It's different for each individual. Often studies indicate huge development problems when you don't allow children to be children, huge developmental problems. Some examples of celebrities who have not responded well to childhood fame, or I guess people the media have labelled as going off the rails, include Amanda Bynes, Macaulay Culkin, Lindsay Lohan, Aaron Carter, and those who are really still successful but still have had their struggles with celebrity include Justin Bieber, Demi Lovato, and Britney Spears. But who is to say these people wouldn't have had problems regardless? Like mental health issues regardless? Like, that's the question. There are many stars who have been childhood stars and are incredibly successful and truly, truly inspiring. A really good example is Natalie Portman. She's done a psychology degree through Harvard. She's bilingual and she has also studied Japanese and German. She's vegan as well. Like, she has total goals. So beautiful. Christian Bale, Scarlett Johansson, Ryan Gosling, Emma Watson, Jodie Foster. There are so many celebrities out there. So there's just so many variables. I don't think that we can say childhood fame equals mental health issues. as an adolescent or as an adult, or that protecting the child will also equal a clean bill of mental health. I subscribe to the idea that there are many variables influencing mental health outcomes. Now, Kanye wanting to protect his kids from the evils of fame is very noble and in many eyes the right choice. But does Kanye really want to protect his kids from fame? No, I don't think so. Otherwise, he wouldn't have gotten North West upstage rapping with him in front of tens of thousands of people. So that means it's okay for North to be exposed to fame when it's on his terms. Kanye may have wanted North to follow in his footsteps as an entertainer, as a rapper, and so it was okay for him to bring North up on stage in front of everyone, exposing her to the public eye in a very real setting as well. Like, you could be up on the audience and you could be booed and you'll see that, and it's right there. You can see the crowd's reaction. Of course, they're probably not going to do that, but it was risky. Whereas Kim having the TikTok account is something that she's turned the comments off. If people are going to have a negative reaction to it, North is quite protected from that. So I think that Kanye wants fame for North West because he has benefited so much from fame, as evidenced by bringing North West up on stage. Kim wants North West to have fame as well because she has benefited so much from fame too. And I think as parents, that's what we all sort of do. Perhaps if you're a doctor, you want your child to become a doctor too because you know that's your key to success, because it was your key to success. But it may not be the individual's key to success. It may not be the key to success for that child. It may not be what they want to do either. So it's so important as a parent that you embrace every skill, not just a skill that is aligned with what you want, not just a skill that is aligned with what you did to make a success for yourself. Maybe your child wants to be a doctor, so then you'll encourage that in every way by bringing them to the hospital, by getting them medical books, all of that sort of thing. But what happens if your child wants to be, say, a painter? You should then really harness and embrace that passion. Take them to a house that's getting painted by painters. Let them take part in that. Maybe that's something that they really want to do. Maybe they want to be a hairdresser. Maybe they want to be a teacher. Listen to what your child wants as well. See, as parents, as a society, we shape, whether we want to admit it or not, whether we can see it or not, we actually shape the pathways for children. So we found this in psychology through monitoring a classroom in an experiment, and it was a maths class, and what they were able to see is that teachers spend more time with the male students. They put more confidence in the male students than they do with the females. That little experiment was able to show that as teachers, through paying more attention to the male students, to believing that the male students are going to have the right answer, it actually shapes that men become better at maths than women do. It can be the same thing within the household. If you as a parent are like, that's so great that you want to do social media like mummy does, let me get you a TikTok account, then you're really going to be shaping the way that your child is going to develop and what interests they're going to have. Whereas they might say to you one day, Mum, I want to become a teacher. Oh, that's nice. Like, you can see how you can actually change what interests your child is going to have. That's why it is so important to see what your child wants and respond to that. Perhaps North West wanted TikTok and Kim responded. But also, sometimes kids want many things, and we as parents do need to put restrictions in place, like encourage, of course, but as adults, we do need to know things that might actually be bad for them. And we sort of know that as adults, kids don't. So is TikTok bad for an 8-year-old from the viewpoint of a provisional psychologist? You need to monitor their screen time, number one. That's really important. But I see it as dangerous through setting up unrealistic expectations. So this won't apply to the everyday child, but for North, setting up TikTok with her account has very little skill, I guess. It's just typical of what you'd expect from an 8-year-old, but somehow she's amassed millions of followers. Now, this is a problem because the danger here is when she faces normal life, she might have to write a book for a school activity, and there will be a huge blow to her self-esteem when she discovers that that book won't be published with millions of sales. When expectations are high, they can become the normality. Then when everyday life and the everyday people expectations like you and me occur, then you can become deflated, you can become apathetic, and it can hurt your self-esteem and self-worth just because the bar was lifted so high. I definitely subscribe to the idea of supporting children's identities. But as Kim and Kanye, just make sure that you support her and the other kids and things other than being a rapper or a personality or an influencer. Support them if they want to be doctors, if they want to be teachers, if they want to be painters or accountants. Don't push your identity onto the child and deny theirs. Do you agree with my parenting skills and tips? Then please hit subscribe. So Kanye is very vocal about this though, and it could be to the detriment of his children and his family. But I think he's doing it because his ego is hurt. He really was very vocal about wanting Kim back, but she's off gallivanting and happy with Pete Davidson for the moment. He was rejected. Kanye was rejected and he was publicly rejected. It hurts. His ego has come into the equation now. We are all probably familiar with Sigmund Freud, the concept of the ID, the ego, and the superego. But a more modern way to think of the ego is to think of it as your self-consciousness system. It is the narrating portion of our mind, of our consciousness, that is basically reflecting one's thoughts, feelings, and actions, and inhibits or legitimizes them to oneself and to others. The ego has basic functions like agency, insight, compassion, empathy. It's crucial to understanding how a person operates within this world. If you've got irregularities within your ego functioning, or if your ego has been damaged, then you can be super sensitive to when people don't do things with your permission. It's even more loss of power, you see. So Kanye has lost power again with Kim. His ego is damaged. He wants to capture that power back, possibly through North, and not letting her use TikTok. It's also a way to get power back over Kim too. Now, these are just theories. I speculate. Though in my experience, I subscribe to the idea of wanting to right wrongs, wanting to take back power when you've lost it, because you see it every day. It's a particularly dangerous combination if you have bipolar disorder though, as you can be prone to grandiose thinking when you're in a manic state. So sadly, I think there will be more and more to see here between the two of them. Both Kim and Kanye are so used to sharing everything with the spotlight, with the cameras, with the public. The continuous fights will more than likely be aired out for everyone to see, because Kanye is possibly impulsive, a symptom of bipolar disorder, and Kim sees too much reward in making things public. The kids will more than likely be negatively impacted by all of this though. I don't like to say anything with certainty, but I think that's a pretty fair call. Anyway, thank you for tuning in today. We've got to love our kids. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next video. Have a great day. And here's a little mental health quote from today that I ripped off my Instagram page. If we hold space for our partners to express themselves without fear of abandonment, we've taken a huge step towards cultivating love in the relationship. I say that as a way to inspire us to start to break the cycle of trauma. Look after our kids. If you're a parent, make sure that your identity is separated from theirs and honor their identity. Thank you.